Hello, my name's Charlotte Reed. I'm going to be doing a presentation on digestion and nutrition, starting with the 7 requirements needed on a daily basis for a balanced diet within the human body and the roles they play. What happens when there is a nutrient deficiency within the body, and a list of recommendations on a daily basis to prevent disease and promote good health. Illustrations will show a diagram of the alimentary canal, including the organs which are involved and their functions. It will include the mechanical and chemical absorption process, and it will include a section on the histology of the stomach and the role the liver plays to aid digestion. So, the 7 dietary requirements are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, water, fibre, vitamins and minerals. Starting with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are normally found in foods such as potatoes, bread, rice, nuts and fruit. They give a good source of energy. They help with daily bodily functions. They are one of the 3 macronutrients that our body needs. They are formed of molecules which are called saccharides. There are 4 types: monosaccharides such as glucose, fructose and galactose, disaccharides which is maltose, sucrose and lactose, oligosaccharides which is raffinose and stachyose, and polysaccharides such as starch, glucagon and cellulose. There are 3 main types of carbohydrates: sugars, starches and fibre. Sugars, which are simple and quickly digested, they are a rapid source of energy. Starches, they are more complex and take longer to digest. They sustained a release of energy. Fibre, which is complex and not digested by the body, and it helps regulate blood sugar. Proteins. Proteins, these are normally found in meat, fish, eggs and pulses. They help with the healing process. They form part of every cell within the human body. They are formed in a long chain of amino acids. Amino acids are the main building block of a protein. There are 20 types of amino acids, however, 8 of which are considered essential. As you can see, a list below of the essential acids that are needed. Moving on to fats, which are found in butter, cream, oils, nuts, avocados and processed foods. They are present in all living cells as fatty acids. They are the key components of cell walls and intracellular membranes, and there are 4 groups of fats: monosaturated, polyunsaturated, saturated and trans. The role of fats is as follows: they store energy, they regulate body temperature, they absorb vitamins, they produce glucose production, they help with nerve function, and they are an anti-inflammatory. So, water supports most of our body functions, supports with growth, keeps moisture balance within the skin, maintains a healthy blood pressure, protects our joints and provides oxygen and nutrients to all cells. Fibre, normally found in fruits, vegetables and wholemeal foods. Fibre is found in the outer walls of plants and seeds. It has no calories. Fibre supports regular bowel movement, it absorbs water into the body, and it's also known as a non-starch polysaccharide, as you can see in brackets, NSP for short. So there are 2 categories of fibre: soluble, which dissolves in water, and insoluble, that does not dissolve in water. Insoluble is beneficial to our colon health and it prevents constipation. Soluble, it helps you stay fuller for longer. It lowers our cholesterol and improves blood sugar levels. Vitamins again, fat soluble and water soluble. Fat soluble stays in the body for a longer time. This can only be used in the presence of fat. Water soluble stays in the body for a shorter time. It needs to ingest smaller quantities at a time and can only be used in the presence of water. Vitamins are found in many foods but can be taken as a supplement form. They support our vision, healthy skin, wound healing, tissue repair, cell development and support our nervous system. These are some of the important vitamins that are needed in our bodies. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K and B3. So vitamin A helps with vision in low light, supports our immune system and supports healthy skin. Vitamin D regulates calcium and phosphate levels. Vitamin C promotes cell development and tissue repair. Vitamin E is good for our skin and eye health. Vitamin K supports blood clotting and supports wound healing. Vitamin B3 required for our nervous system and its functions. Now we have minerals, another important recommendation for our diet. We have two kinds, macrominerals and microminerals. Macrominerals are required in higher quantities, microminerals required in smaller quantities, as you can see a list there of what's required. Minerals help maintain a good balance of fluids within the outside cells of our body. They convert food into insoluble substances and they support our bone growth. So now we have a daily diet recommendation for carbohydrates, fats, salt, iron, protein, vitamin C, calcium and fibre for the prevention of disease within the human body. Carbohydrates, we need at least half of a person's intake should be from carbohydrates, 45 to 65%. Fats should not exceed 30% of a person's total energy input. Salt should not exceed 5 grams. Iron, 8.7 milligrams for an adult man and 14.8 milligram for adult women. Protein, 0.75 grams per kilo of our body weight. Vitamin C, 40 milligrams. Calcium 700 milligrams and fibre 30 grams. So what happens to our bodies when we have a dietary imbalance? We talk here about some of the symptoms that occur when there is a nutrient deficiency, starting with malnutrition, either acute or chronic, the incorrect amount of nutrients required for the body to function healthily. Excuse me. Starvation, again, acute and chronic, can be lack of food consumption. Obesity is high excess of body fat. And some of the symptoms and illnesses that occur from a nutrient deficiency can be diabetes, heart disease or metabolic disturbances. Consequences of nutrient deficiencies include decreased stature, fragile skin, metabolic disturbances, persistent illnesses, poor appetite, poor wound healing, susceptibility to infection, and muscle wastage. Now here we move on to the human alimentary canal, the organs involved within the human digestive system. From the mouth, which the salivary glands, the esophagus, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the stomach, the small intestine, the large intestine, the appendix, the rectum, and finally the anus. So the first stage of digestion includes the food being chewed in the mouth. The salivary glands produce food which gets mixed with the food ready for swallowing. This is called mastication. The second stage of digestion is where the food moves down the esophagus, also known as the food pipe. This is where muscles contract. This is called peristalsis propulsion. It helps move food down the food pipe, ready to enter into the stomach. The third stage of digestion is where the food is mixed with gastric acid, primarily composed of hydrochloric acid and enzymes. This breaks down the food into a semi-liquid called chyme. The chyme then moves out of the stomach into the duodenum. So the small intestine digestion, which is the fourth stage of digestion, is where the pancreas produces enzymes. It breaks down food into smaller particles. It secretes hormones such as insulin and glucagon, and it controls blood sugar. The gallbladder stores the bile, which is produced by the liver, that helps digest fats. This is where carbohydrates and fats are digested before the food moves into the large intestines via peristalsis propulsion. The fifth stage of digestion is where vitamins are absorbed, such as minerals, glucose, fructose and water. So then the sixth stage of digestion is where food is eliminated via the anus. After water has been absorbed into the large intestine, solid waste moves down from the colon into the rectum before exiting the body through the anus. Another process involved in digestion is mechanical and chemical, as you can see here. So the mechanical part breaks down food for absorption, chews the food, as we spoke about, by the mouth, swallowing the food, moving down the esophagus, churning the food, mixing with gastric juices within the stomach. The chemical process, which is in the small intestine, is where enzymes made of proteins break food down into molecules at a fast rate for absorption. Key types of enzymes are carbohydrates, protease and lipase. Carbohydrates break down carbs, protease break down proteins, and lipase breaks down lipids. There's an illustration here of how the enzymes break down carbohydrates. So firstly, where the molecule and the enzyme connects, the enzyme is then shaped to fit the molecule. The molecule is broken down to its base product. So moving on to the histology of the stomach. Within the stomach, it has 4 layers: a mucosa, a submucosa, a muscularis externa, and a serosa. The mucosa is the core area of the lining of the stomach. It uses gastric fluid to digest food. The submucosa is the connective tissue which is to join the mucosa to the muscle underneath. The muscularis externa has 3 layers: the inner layer, the middle layer and the outer layer. These layers contract to a churning of food in the stomach. The serosa protects the stomach and reduces friction whilst the body is moving. The duodenum. This is the first part of the small intestine. It partially digests food after the stomach. Food molecules are passed through the small intestines into the bloodstream. Plicae circularis wrap around the duodenum and increase surface area for absorption. The ileum. Similarly to the duodenum, the ileum within the small intestine aids to conclude the digestion process. It also begins the absorption process for single sugars, fatty and amino acids, and glycerol. The ileum directly joins to the large intestine. The ileum, again, like the duodenum, has 4 layers: the mucosa, the submucosa, the muscularis externa and interna, and the serosa. The mucosa membrane, lined with villi and microvilli, they are folded structures increasing efficiency for absorption. Submucosa, this is thick and durable connective tissue which is used to join the mucosa to the muscle underneath. Muscularis externa and interna, these have 3 layers of muscula externa which form in different directions from one another. The inner oblique, the middle circular and the outer longitudinal. These layers contract to assist with the process of churning used to digest food within the stomach. The serosa lines the outside of the stomach. It is used to reduce friction and protect the stomach as it moves within the body. So another organ involved in digestion is the liver. The main functions of the liver relating to digestion is it stores simple sugars, it produces bile to digest fats, which is stored in the gallbladder. It neutralises food molecules from acid to alkali before moving into the small intestines. It helps regulate blood sugar and it removes toxins from the blood as well as waste products from digestion. So, to conclude this presentation, I think it's been made clear the importance of what is needed within the human body to maintain a healthy digestive system, the importance of a balanced diet and the nutrients required to prevent disease and also promote well-being. How the organs function within the digestive system and the roles they play. Illustrations and diagrams have made it simple to understand the organs involved in the alimentary tract for digestion, starting from the mouth and finishing with the anus. And that concludes this presentation. Thank you for your time.